Hey, Blue Table fans, Sean here, and today I'm going to talk about Valhalla at length. That's right. Whenever you hear me talk about something at length, oh boy, find something else to do. All right, so Valhalla began as an idea to put a really nice property, like a nice house, to use. And since then, the idea has evolved and grown. And we've run about 14 of these from 2011 through 2014. As you guys know, those of you that have been following the channel. For those of you that haven't been following the channel, the idea came to me when I was returning from a convention, and I realized that we really didn't have very much time to talk to other vendors, captains of industry, or even fans and clients because everything was so busy. And that's the energy of a convention, which is good. And Adepticon, which I think is topping 6,000 people right now, is really it's just this amazing thing. And so anyway, and I also thought to myself, what could be the best experience you could have doing wargaming? What would be the best version of that? And so we came up with the idea of doing these very private events, and we set about scouting locations. And initially, we found a place out in Spanish Fort Canyon, and it was like this really nice building, great surroundings, really beautiful. That's when sort of the vision started dawning on me. And but even though that was the best place I had seen to date, that was not the best place. And we only held two there. They were both in wintertime. I was so eager to get the thing off the ground. I started in November 2010, and we were doing them in, I think the first one was February 2011. And I got to tell you, traveling to Utah in the winter, not the best. And getting out to like, you know, like out there. So now what most of you don't know is that the concept of Valhalla, as it evolved, had the idea of doing different types of locations too. So as I fleshed out the idea in my mind, it was Ocean Valhalla, Valhalla, Ocean Valhalla, Desert Valhalla, Mountain Valhalla, and City Valhalla. And the Ocean Valhalla is slated to be in the Bahamas. So the idea is you have out a bunch of people and you do the best boards that you possibly can, and it's more than just, oh, let's go and just play some games. You're going to forge some great relationships if you want. Also, it can be a great place to get new business ideas, and if you're in the wargaming industry, that is just perfect for that. And of course, to have an experience. And so, to my mind, the best version of wargaming is food, setting, friends, and then the context of the games themselves, i.e. great terrain. And through the years, I built up, I think, a collection of like 16 Valhalla quality boards, and that's really something great that BTP still has going on. And in fact, to the Valhalla that's slated for, I do believe it's late September, we're bringing the boards for that, and it's going to be great. And my goal is to get at least one more great board done by then. In fact, I've had the hankering to just do it myself because, as you may know, I'm great at doing terrain. And in fact, that was always really a strong suit. I remember when was it? It was like 2001 when I was teaching in San Francisco. I had quite an argument with my then wife about how to use the summer because I wanted to just be in the garage and backyard and just making terrain. I mean, just really getting my hands on it. And so, anyway, took a break from Valhalla in 2015. It is very time consuming. There's a huge amount of mental effort to it. And in 2016, it's Wargamer Girl, Miranda, and many of you may know her. she's picked up the torch. And I was on a road trip last year, and we visited her and her companion, and really talked over what the fate of it was. And in my personal life, I was just like, I do not have the energy for this again. And because when you're having 42 people out, there's a lot of moving parts to that, and there's a mental cost to that. But anyway, they're doing it this year. It's all filled up. All the tickets are sold, except, so this is the PSA, guys, except the event passes. And an event pass is the gaming, the food, everything except for spending the night there. So you find some other place to spend the night, and then you just actually come up there. And up in the Timber Lakes area where it's being held, let's see here, Timber Lakes, there's other cabins up there, quite a few actually. And so, but the event passes are limited, and there's a few left. So I'd recommend get in touch with me, get in touch with Miranda, and pick one of those up. Now, a friend slash client of mine has picked up a cabin there, and that has some open slots in it. So I don't know how close it is. I know it's in the same, it's nearby. It's probably within walking distance. And so I have a room there, even though, just for the record, Miranda did make space for me. But, you know, I tend to just sleep anywhere. And anyway, so that's a thing. You could actually get in with this cabin that me and other guy are putting together. And so let's see, there's that. Now, the grand and glorious future of Valhalla, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm pleased because even though it seemed like I kind of bloodied my knuckles all those years, having someone else worry about it, but then being able to just go, that sounds great. I'm going to have an army ready. I'm bringing studio armies. I'm setting up the terrain, of course, and I'm just gonna be there and have some fun. No pressure. And I'm very excited about that. So let's see here. And of course, I'm up in Salt Lake now, which is closer to the location, and that's nice. That's nice too. Now, as far as BTB Studio, I'm holding out for something inspirational. And in the meantime, the whole thing's going forward guerrilla warfare style. In fact, it reminds me of the Badger Hole. It reminds me of the early days. But of course, I'm a lot smarter now, know what I'm doing, better equipped, and I feel good. I feel good. And I found a place that's totally inspirational. It's amazing. You saw the video of it, and that's not even half. And I'm kind of just playing it close to the vest, and in the meantime, just setting up projects and going about our regular business. So, on to the grand and glorious destiny of Valhalla. Valhalla, for me, in my mind, has evolved as this concept. And I've talked about it actually at the Valhallas. I usually make like a little speech, or people approach me. I sit down and talk to them about it. Like this is what's happening. And right now, after years of using physical effort to sort of move the ball down the field, I'm taking a step back from that, and I'm like, okay, how is this going to happen in a different and productive way? And so that's what I've been working on, at least like mentally. So the grand and glorious vision is a property that is like out of Lord of the Rings. Something beautiful, great deal of natural beauty, maybe in Colorado, maybe in Oregon. I've thought of that as like, you know, that might be a place that it ends up being. But I'm not worried about that right now. I have no agenda. But it looks like Rivendell. It's a spa-level retreat that looks like Rivendell. I get to live sort of on the edge of the property and have a workshop there. My fantasy is just being able to just do it, just be able to create. Maybe with some kind of massive artistic benefactor who is interested to see what comes out of this. And have miniatures artists come out as as volunteers and artistic collaborators. And so what I've done in the last 7 months, I've built up this sort of like a first-person story to storytell how it would be if it were that awesome. And that, to me, that's just as personal as a personal journal. And but I've written, I do believe I just hit 100 pages on it, and I've drawn pictures. So in my mind, this place is real. I understand it. I know what it feels like. I've detailed it. And it's helped to actually go over it again and again and again as a concept to sort of hash out the details of what would be cool, how would it work best, what is the best feel to it. That includes also number of guests at a given time. What I noticed as we built Valhalla up, when we were doing it at Sundance, we could only have 10 to 18 people there. And that was, of course, limited by the cabin space. And what we found is most of the really, really, really awesome places were built as private residences or vacation homes for families. So what does that mean? Well, they only have maximum 5 or 6 rooms. And then after that, you gotta like figure something out. And there's nothing really out there that I know of that really actually fits the bill. And then, of course, when we started at the last Valhalla that I ran in October 2014 was, let's see, it was 42 people. And that was great. What a great turnout for a concept that wasn't proven. Nobody had tried it before. And hold on, let me look at my time. I'm doing good. I've got 30 minutes. So in 42 people. And there's a point where it's like, it's enough people where people kind of break into groups of similar interests, and you feel like you could get to know everybody a little bit at least. So but it's not so much that it's crowd control. So to my mind, an ideal like attendance is between 30 and maybe 60 people, 30 to 60 people. And other than that, you've got basically crowd control issues, and you don't really know what's going on. And it's not as much as an exercise in connectivity, which I obviously love about the event. So back to, like, in my mind, the ultimate version of this is that it has this sort of Mountain Kingdom Rivendell feel, like a Rivendell for wargamers. And I imagine that the place will be used for other things as well, like health and mental wellness retreats, things like that. But it's also very private. It doesn't rely on ticket sales for its own existence. It just is its own thing. And as far as the gaming stuff, as I plotted it out in my mind, like, well, what would the schedule look like? What would, what are the limitations of it? I don't think you could do like a Valhalla every single week. Like, that would just be complete burn outage. I imagine if there's a permanent location or when there's a permanent location, that it will be more like 10 times a year. And there will be different types of events too. I've actually toyed with the idea of doing a cosplay thing too. You know, like an elven court or a Viking hall, something like that. And really build it up into an event with pageantry and scenery, and the people that are there to assist, or the attendants, the crew, they're also part of whatever the fantasy world is. Like, they're dressed up, or they somehow are contributing to the essence of it. All right, guys, so that's it. That's it for Valhalla. Wow, I've really given you the overview without too many details. And I'm very excited. Oh, the other thing is the place that I showed you, which is on the outskirts of Salt Lake, that actually falls more into the category of what I consider to be a city Valhalla, because the facility itself, the building itself, it's worthy of the gods themselves. It's as good as any of these other places that we've seen. It's amazing. And it seems like, I believe that you owe it to your life to have a fun dream and to think that through And maybe at first just kind of have it in your head, but eventually you got to type it up. You got to write it down. You got to sketch it out in a sketchbook and start writing down these ideas. And like I said, I've been doing this off and on through various intensities for at least 5 years. And now I've ramped it up where I'm writing like a detailed first-person account of how it would be. And I've discovered a lot about myself. I've found that things that I thought I wanted, for example, in 2013 when I was making my vision room, it's like, oh, I own 10 companies. Now I'm like, yeah, 10 companies, probably not as fun as it sounds. And so I scratched that and thought, well, what else would be amazing? What would be good? So, folks, that's all I got to say about Valhalla. I want to tell you that I appreciate you guys. To me, it's always a wonder that I can put up any old bollocks, and over the course of time, 1,000 or 2,000 or more people will actually watch it. You go back on some of our vids, there's like 40,000 hits, 50,000 hits, and I'm like, that's great. That's, to my mind, I think, oh, that's a contribution. You know, once in a while I run, like in movies or whatever, it's like, sing your song, you do something in life. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what I'm going to do. Then I'm like, oh no, I already did it. I already did something. I already created this vast repository of an adventure that's on record for people to go and actually watch it. Like a book, like writing a book, and there it is on the shelf, and whoever wants to pick it up and enjoy that story can enjoy the story. But guys, this is an ongoing story, and I'm very excited for the next chapter. I actually met with a new staffer named Danae this morning and went over stuff, plans, and what we would need to do. It's really exciting, and I've got some great new artists, and I'm looking forward to adding some new artists too. Yeah, all right, now I'm rambling. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in.